I'm wondering what happened in the third quarter there that allowed Iowa State to really take control of things.
Yeah, I thought, I felt in a pretty good spot coming in at halftime. I thought we were tied, and I think that when Ava picked up her fourth, it gives another team a little confidence. I don't know if it was, that a little bit. I thought, first off, I want to credit Iowa State. Man, Bill and their staff is fantastic over all the years, and I thought this was a really fun in-state game. I mean, to have 11th ranked, 10th ranked. I didn't really know how good we were yet, quite honestly, coming in here, and I knew we'd find out a whole lot with this type of environment. So just credit them. What a great team. I just looked at the box score. They had 3 double-doubles, which is tremendous, and that's going to bode well for them going down the stretch. So I think a lot of Iowa State, I don't think it was just us, right? I think in particular, I think they got 2 hustle plays. I think that one rebound that started, we got them to miss, and then the ball was kicked, I think, and they kind of dove on the floor and got it, and thought that was the big play. And then the very next possession, we missed, and one unique was kicked, but they got that hustle play. And I think that gives you some momentum, like if you're a team, you're like, all right, I got that, right? So I think that wasn't great. And then I think, they hit some big shots, but I think Ava fouling and getting 4. We're just not used to playing without her, and she's been, playing pretty well. But then, when I step back, Ava's pretty young. Ava's a sophomore, and Ava didn't really get a whole lot of minutes and start coming on until the Big Ten tournament. So she had a really nice summer, but this is arguably the biggest, obviously Kirk's is one of the best in the country. So it was a good battle. It'll be for her. I think there were a lot of things that we could have countered with that Ava wasn't able to do because we got in foul trouble.
Yeah, Jan, Jeff Leonard, was it just as simple as they outplaying you in the post? Was that? Yeah,
and what I think is, the great thing about Crooks, she just has a beautiful touch. She's pretty lethal. So, we were trying to, what I want to do is front some, play behind some, and kind of help off some. But when Ava got in foul trouble, it took a really big cog out of our game plan. But credit Crooks, I'm not going to say it was Ava's, all of her decisions. But, I mean, this is a group that they're juniors. And they're last year, they were, gelling and coming, maybe wanted to go a little farther. I think they look so committed, but they're juniors. And when you're juniors and you have a confidence and you're that skilled, and I think Jada Williams is a great guard. I said even before, I think she was a really great pickup, especially when you lose an Emily Ryan. I think that was a good piece what this team needed because she can slash, she can hit the 3, but she's got a playmaking ability. So I just think that, you just saw a lot of seasoned kids that have really been together a lot of minutes. I like our youth. I like it a lot, but it kind of showed we were a little young. We didn't quite have the minutes of our young players as we have been having, but I just think we're going to grow a lot from this. I mean, what is it, a 5-point game, right? And so, I mean, that's a great team. And so if we're 5 points short, I feel a lot more positive. I wish I would have won, yeah, but man, I have the utmost respect for Iowa State, and it was a great game. And sometimes you get to be the victors on it, but sometimes you got to come up a little bit short. But yeah, they're that interior is pretty solid.
What free throws? Obviously, you just have not been good this year.
No.
How did that?
Well, now, when I looked at the free throws, if we could have gone by the percentages, that was one place we actually beat Iowa State on, right? Bill's probably saying the same thing. I know, I wish I had the magic. I'll take, we've been doing a lot of different pressure free throws, trying to get in the gym extra. We could sit on the sideline and everybody's gonna really, as they should, critique that. But the one thing I know is you probably need to get in the gym a little bit more. You can only keep stacking confidence if you do the work. And I know we're getting in there, but I'll challenge them to make sure, now maybe we better do something a little bit different. If you're shooting 100, maybe we need 150, right? But that's been my thing the whole year. If you could be in my practices, it's not a stat that I have not addressed, I can assure you. And in this particular game, when it was about a 3-4 point possession and we missed some, that can swing it because it puts more pressure on the other team. But I think all of us in sport, but probably in life, you grow the most in adversity. And sometimes when you win some games and your free throws weren't so great, but when you lose some games and the free throws aren't so great, then all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, right?
Hey, Coach.
Hey, how are you back there?
How are you doing? What'd you say to your team in the locker room after this game?
Well, I mean, I think it was a heck of a game. I mean, I know it was all the third quarter to me. So you can choose to look at the third quarter and just be really disappointed about it. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that come in here and that happens in the third quarter and they don't get a fourth quarter like we had. So I'm really proud. That is a great team, Iowa State. And they had a lot to do with it, but we had a little bit to do with it too. We did not, I wanted to really attack the high post. For some reason, we wouldn't run that as much. We were kind of forgetting, but I think that's the crowd. I think that's the pressure. But when we started to hit that in the fourth quarter, we got a couple drives. We got them a little bit more tighter. We got a couple fouls. So I feel much more positive than negative. I just think it was a great 5-point game. It was within a possession. Had McCabe hit that play that we drew up, it was tied. It was that close, even with a heck of a run that they orchestrated. But yet we clawed back. So I'm really pleased. I think people watching that game, I think that was a fun game. I think we hopefully enhanced why we want to watch women's sports. So I told him afterwards, I addressed the free throws. I addressed we got to keep composure. I certainly gave Iowa State a lot of credit. I always believe in that. And then I said, okay, what's next? And now, we get an opportunity to play on Saturday. Yeah.
Coach, I wondered if I could ask you a question about each team. First of all,
Yeah.
with your team.
Yeah.
I know we didn't get to see Ava as much as she normally would have played. What do you expect from her for her second season in the Big Ten? And then you mentioned Williams. What ways does Williams help Iowa State?
Yeah. Well, I think with Ava, she's really worked, and I think it's just going to be really difficult when you're a player like Ava. That's the one player that couldn't afford to get in foul trouble because she couldn't play with freedom. So everybody was waiting for that matchup. If Crooks gets a couple fouls earlier, then she can't play with freedom. So she has to then be a little careful with how hard she buries, how hard she hooks with that arm, right? We were the ones, and I told our staff, it's whoever gets in that foul trouble early. So when Ava lost that a little bit, Ava lost a little bit of her freedom to kind of move. She scores on the move. She scores with some crosses. She'll do a little more dribbling. And so when you're playing cautious, you lose a lot of who you are. And credit them, right? They got her in foul trouble. So that, I don't want Ava to lose her confidence because she played against one of the best players ever to play the post position. So I think Ava's going to have a really nice year for us. You just didn't get to see it tonight because that's what happens when there's foul trouble, right? Jada, I think, Jada came to a really great system and it's fun to win, right? And so she hadn't had that for her career. So she gets here and they know they know their roles. They know who needs to get the shot and when. And what guard wouldn't love throwing into Crooks? It's it's automatic. So if you're going to do anything, you're probably going to work on your passing, right? And so I think that's why she's able to pass and she's able to slash. And she's just a really, really nice player. So it's just like us last year with Lucy Olson. You got to kind of get the right fit, right? Because you're lost in Emily Ryan. So it's like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? And then when you get that right piece, she's not Emily, but she's Jada. And so I think they've done a really nice job with that.
Last one, Joey.
Hey, Coach, just wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
to have Iowa and Iowa State women's basketball performing at such a high level, what does that mean, not only here in the state of Iowa, but on a national perspective as well?
I think that's just what's really fun about the history of our state. We've long supported women's basketball. probably talked about too much, but my grandmother played high school basketball in the 20s, right? And that's just so rare in some states. But I think a lot of kids in this state, they really love it. They grow up knowing how great it is at all 4 institutions, quite honestly. And there's a lot of small D1s that have some really high, or D2s or NAIAs in our state that are really good. So I think all of us can be really proud of just the support, and we have a lot of great coaches in this state. We have some great AAU programs. You know, Jensen from this town, he has, you know, he recruits out also now. He's not just doing it with Iowa, but it's still under the All Iowa TAC umbrella. So I think those of us in the state are fortunate. We got Minnesota players, quality players, but as an Iowan, I am pretty proud that, you know, we're both in the, you know, ranked right now. I think we, you know, we got a lot of progress to stay where we are. We got a lot of growth. I don't know if Iowa State's gonna have a lot of growth. They're pretty doggone good at the moment. But I think if we keep plugging away and I get our youth mixed in a little bit more, you know, I like what maybe we could do this year, but I'm pretty excited about what's gonna come down the future.